Konnichiwa, Nihon Cricket Pod de Yokoso. Welcome to the Japan Cricket Podcast, the last of the World Cup Qualifier bite-sized episodes. I've been bringing in the ringers over the last 12 days or so, but we've got the big guns out for the final one. Coach Dhugal Bedingfield, Captain Kendel Kadowaki-Fleming, welcome on the show, boys.
Pleasure to be on your show again.
Aran-san, konbanwa.
Konbanwa, Kendel. Let's start with you, mate. Picked up a little gold trophy at the end of the day today. Batter of the tournament. How do you think it went for you?
Obviously pleasing to get individual recognition. Sometimes it was a disappointing way to finish the tournament as a group. I think we wanted to put our best foot forward in this last game against PNG, but they're a very good team, and I think there are a lot of positives to draw from it. In terms of the award itself, I think it's kind of ironic in that if we'd batted a little bit better, then the PNG guys would have had more opportunities to make runs. But pleasing to get a couple of scores earlier in the tournament.
Dukes, Kendel mentioned there that the game today didn't go to plan, but I guess if we were sat here 2 weeks ago when we landed, and if I'd offered you second place at the tournament, what would you have thought of that?
No, we were here to win, that's for sure. So we fell one place short of where we wanted to finish. Having said that, the Papua New Guinea team were extremely impressive in how they went about it. So they've really set the benchmark again in the East Asia Pacific region, and we just learned a little bit about some of the standards that we need to strive for.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we played against those guys. You make that point that they have set the standard, really, the PNG team. I think they've shown the way they go about their cricket. You can see how much cricket they play as a unit. You can see that they all know their roles very well. They know their games very well. And that's definitely something that Japan can be looking to aspire to. And I think from what we saw from the Japan team over the last 6 games, there's a lot of positives to take out of it. Do you want to talk us through some of those?
Yeah, some really big positives. There weren't too many teams that scored comfortably against us, probably until the last couple of games when that Vanuatu partnership between Pico and Mansali through the middle overs of the 5th game, they batted really, really well against us, and only just got over the line chasing our 136, I think it was. And then the last game, the Papua New Guinea batsmen played with a lot of freedom in attacking us and got away from us a bit in the power play. But until that point, our bowlers did a really good job of bowling really, really tight lines and lengths, and really restricting the opposition team's ability to score. So that's probably the biggest positive. The captain batsman of the tournament is another one, and a few other things that we're quite pleased about, but long way to go.
Yeah, we saw Tony Ura smack 47 of 19, I think it was today. There's not many guys doing that in this tournament in general, and certainly not against our bowling. So definitely the bowling was a step up. Kendel, watching Tony bat like that kind of sends a message, I think, to the rest of the tournament of how players can play, and that the pitch probably didn't have as many demons as maybe some people thought it did, and that maybe the scores could have been a bit higher. How do you think Japan go about rectifying that?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, or million yen question, really. I think that, definitely the scores probably weren't a reflection of the pitch. I think it was definitely tough at times with the spin, a little bit on the slow side, but I think the way that PNG batted today, it really showed that if you miss your length by a little bit, then you really can go the journey. I was having a chat with Piyush Kumbhare after the game, and he's probably been one of our best bowlers for Japan over the last 6 months, playing in October and then now here. And I was just saying, you miss 1 metre full or half a metre full against those types of players, or you miss your line by maybe 6 inches, and they can really take advantage. So, hopefully all our batters took something out of watching those PNG players. And, it's about going back to Japan now, training really hard, and hopefully turning the starts into big scores in club cricket.
Kendel, you play cricket at a pretty decent level yourself. I think for the Japan boys, this was a chance to see cricket at another level. From your point of view, having played with the team for the first time in October, and having followed the team for a long time, and you mentioned a few times you were following pretty closely when the team played in the Philippines all of 4.5, nearly 5 years ago. What improvements have you seen first of all in the 6 months and going further back from where the team was 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think even in those last 8 months or so, we've made huge improvements. We lost against Vanuatu in our 5th game of the tournament, and we were really disappointed with that one, or the 4th game. And yet they're a big step up from teams we were losing to in October, for example. Respectfully to Indonesia, I think Vanuatu had a lot of power in their batting. They were really disciplined with their bowling as well. So I think even in that period, we've improved. We've come a long way. And then going back to 5 years ago, I wasn't there, so it's hard to say. But just the fast bowlers, their skills. Rayo, for example, opening the bowling and being able to nick people off in the power play on turf. Guys like Ibi and Sabo coming in the middle against really high quality spinners on a slow turning deck and being able to get boundaries against those bowlers. I think skill for skill, we've come a long way in that period.
Yeah, absolutely. Dhugal, I'm going to just kind of go back a little bit on what I said before. We talked coming into this tournament about how both the Philippines and Papua New Guinea have come down from a step up from the regional final, and us and Vanuatu have come in as the sub-regional champions. So to many people on the outside, Vanuatu are ranked 20 places above us, so we probably would have been 4th favourites. Yeah, we're ranked 60, they're ranked 42, I believe. So hopefully that gap closes a bit. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, in terms of that sort of measurement to the people outside who might be listening to this who don't know a lot about Japan cricket, you've said pretty clearly we came here to win. It's a real mindset shift, I think, that we've seen in Japan over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. Speaking to an unnamed senior pro in the team, he talked about how perhaps in the past when he used to play against teams like Vanuatu and PNG, it was a case of damage limitation, but that's certainly not the case anymore.
No, that's right. We need to set our sights high, and I mean the whole world cricket scene was a bit disjointed for 2 or 3 years during the whole COVID pandemic, and during that time we were also rebuilding our team a little bit as well. We just didn't have the opportunity to play, so all of a sudden, I think it was last October, we had about eight new players making their debut.
I think it was about 11 actually. I think we had 11 in 3 matches.
We thought we had a much improved team, but we knew it was going to take just a little bit of time to gel. And Kendel references that few months where we had some really positive signs, but a few teething issues, and that has taken a few months to kind of for the group to get used to each other. And we did have some good results during this tournament, but we feel like there's a lot more scope to improve with this current group as it is.
Yeah, on that, I don't want to talk too much about what gets said in the team changing room, but we have said, I think it's fair enough for me to talk about, as a unit, we haven't quite pulled everything together in one game. The batting, bowling, fielding have all been good in patches, but not the complete performance. So that must be pretty exciting about what could come next.
Yeah, well, that's probably obvious to those fans listening to this podcast that, yeah, we didn't quite put everything together in any single game, but we still managed to win 3 games pretty comfortably. We were, lost a close one, and against Papua New Guinea, they were clearly the better team on both occasions, but we showed signs that if we play our best batting, fielding, bowling performance, then we can compete with some very, very good teams in the future.
Yeah, and looking ahead, Kendel, we've got the Asia Games coming up. Beyond that, hopefully we'll have a Asian Cricket Council Asia Cup qualifier. There might be an East Asia Cup around the corner sometime as well. So there's a fair bit of cricket coming up. Looking ahead, in terms of goals, we've talked obviously here about being the best in this region. We'll go back to the sub-regional qualifier next year. What do you think in the short term are the most important things for us to focus on?
I think you've both touched on it. It's bringing together all 3 facets of the game at once, to be able to put together not a perfect game, but something that resembles closer to that. I think the opportunity to play more cricket is really important for our group, so being a part of the ACC is really exciting. And we saw recently the 19s played in Darwin, and in any other normal year they would have qualified for a World Cup. So I think where the JCA currently are with their squads and where we're progressing to, it's really an exciting time to be leading the men's team. You know, I would love the opportunity for most of the players in our squad to be exposed to a high level of cricket more frequently. So if that means players going out for half a season even in Australia or New Zealand in Japan's off season, that'd be great. More than welcome to join my club in Brisbane, as Marcus has in Musashi in the past. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a journey, so it's not going to happen overnight. And as I've said to a few players individually, we know the standard now, so it's about what we need to do to get back here in 2 years and beat PNG.
Yeah, the team in general is pretty young. There's a host of players under 25. That's a core. There's not a single player here in this group who were part of the under 19s in Darwin who won that tournament. Well, came second in that tournament. Sorry, pretty comfortably. And that must make it really exciting in terms of there's players coming through. There's guys in the squad performing at a young age, and they just need to perhaps find a bit of consistency. So, for you as a older player in the side, I'm not going to say old, it keeps that hunger to be part of it going.
Yeah, definitely. 27, but feeling 37 this week with my back issues, getting rub downs every morning from Orko-san. But yeah, and the competition for spots is another thing. You know, those 19s boys, a lot of really impressive players in that group that haven't quite cracked the men's stuff yet, but they're not going to be far off. And I think that competition within the squad, the wider squad, will hopefully make everyone train harder and improve, and yeah, go from there.
Dhugal, I'll throw the last one to you, and then we'll call it an evening because it is bite-size after all. As you look to go home and reflect on this tournament, what do you think the biggest learnings will be, and what will you take from the PNG experience as a whole?
PNG is a really interesting place to come to, and I don't think anyone's really prepared for PNG until you actually come here. I've enjoyed it greatly, I must admit. Probably the only downside is being trapped in the hotel a lot of the time and needing a lot of security to go anywhere. But it's been a really enjoyable experience in PNG. On the cricket front, as we touched on before, it's exposed our players just to that level that's required to compete against some of the better associate nations in the world, and being able to adapt to different conditions. It was really interesting playing at the Amini Park for 6 games, and we noticed that it's much different from playing at the SICG or anywhere else. For example, there's a huge breeze blowing from one end every day, and we had to adjust our game plan to suit that. So I think for a lot of the boys, it was an eye-opening experience on a number of fronts. We learned a lot, and yeah, I think the group is just really keen to take on the next challenge.
Gunshots during the team talk was unusual, wasn't it?
Yeah, we didn't really know whether to be worried or to laugh, and in the end, everyone started laughing. My team talk this morning was interrupted by gunshots, and we did get the information from the groundsman that there is an issue with some people coming down from the highlands selling betel nut illegally. And
how dare they?
And the police's response was to just kind of shoo them off with some gunfire. So that's a new one. We don't get that in Sunno.
We don't. I'm going to throw a couple more questions actually. Kendel, tour highlight.
Tour highlight. I can't talk about the kickboxer in our team. That's probably not appropriate. We had a great day at the sports club on our second rest day. Highlight was Roger Federer, Sabarish Ravichandran owning the tennis court for about 4 hours. So not really much of a rest day for him, but that was good fun.
Yeah, I'd agree. Probably my tour highlight as well, seeing off some of these young boys on the squash court who are half my age. Dhugal, same one for you?
Lots of highlights. Seeing as he's here, the big skipper launching a couple of sixes in a row over the grandstand, and the boys getting their famous Doskoi Doskoi chant going. It was a really good feeling at that time early in the tournament.
Yeah, the PNG guys, the PNG staff were asking a lot about that today. I heard them in the opposition, and I think they were annoyed about it to begin with, and then actually grew to quite like it. So I think that was a good win. They were even talking about adopting it themselves when they go to the World Cup. Final question, Kendel. A lot of support from back home, a lot of people getting behind the team. Any final message for the fans?
Yeah, I think obviously it's we're really thankful and grateful for that support. We didn't get the result we wanted. We came here to qualify for a World Cup, but hang in there, stay with us. We really do hear and appreciate all the support, and I'm certain that if we do all the right things over the next 12 to 24 months, we can be in this position in 2 years' time and go one better.
And Dhugal?
Yeah, I just echo that. We really do appreciate the support from the Japan cricket community, both inside Japan and a lot of the people supporting us all over the globe. We do get a lot of those messages coming through, and that does really inspire the team to get better and win things in the future. So stay on board.
Absolutely. One of the unpublicly stated goals of the Japan Cricket Association is to become everyone's second favourite team. And favourite team if you're Japanese. So that's a goal we're working towards. Thank you if you're listening to this. Hopefully we are already your second favourite team. But go and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mates at the cricket club, and get them following Japan cricket. Until next time, Otsukaresama deshita.